In our last episode, we talked about connecting in the Deciphering messages. Hope you like this episode, which we talk about higher realms.
Getting these messages are so important because sometimes things happen that we don't have an answer for. We don't know what to do. A few days ago, I had a client that called and they're just about to do a large deal. He had to invest a series of money. We're looking at about 3 or 4 different options in the way that they could package this particular business, whether or not they should invest. And so he said, Tony, I want to explain the whole situation. No, you don't need to. It's number 2. All the other ones are a waste of time. He says, how would you know that? Because I haven't explained to you what the situation is. It's very simple. As soon as you start explaining what the situation is, my mind has to engage. And I'm only going to be able to tell you based on a 3-dimensional opinion. But I'm seeing there's 4 different options. One of them is whiter than the rest, and it's number 2. So what is number 2? He starts to say, well, this is the one I really didn't have a lot of confidence in. I'm looking at number 3 or number 4. He says, I know, because you're looking at it from how your mind is seeing it. And all I'm seeing is that's a clear pathway. When you are looking at things 3-dimensionally, don't try and cross what your mind is doing to what spirit is in the energy that it is trying to convey. They're 2 separate realms. Your dreams that are where they're coming from is in 5th dimension and beyond. There's 10 dimensions altogether, just for the record. We talk about 5th dimension as a source of messages, but they do come from higher up. 3rd dimension is where most of the population is at the moment. Most people are looking at what they're seeing, what they're feeling, what's directly in front of them. And they're basing their mood, their fear level, their everything on what they're seeing. When you start to get into a higher realm, you're not so much have any knee-jerk reaction when things are happening. You're saying, okay, this is what's happening, and you consult a higher realm. And they're saying, there's no problem. You don't need to do anything. Some of the affirmations I've seen was, no matter where you're from, your dreams are valid. Lupta Nyong said that. Legend says that if you can't sleep at night, it is because you are awake in someone else's dream. Ever had that where you're really having a hard time sleeping? That is partially right. There is some evidence to that, especially if they're very close to you. Like if you've been dating someone for a long time, or if you have some kind of emotional connection, like a niece or a nephew, there's things going on with them, and they regard you as a guidance person or someone like a guardian. Their energy is going out to search for answers. The one I like is, rather than seeing dreams as hidden messages, see dreams as experiences of empathy. Then use that empathy with the dream to reconnect with the experience of dreaming itself. I know there's a lot of words there, but essentially what it means is that when you look at a dream, rather than trying to assess or analyze what the dream is, experience the dream. What does this dream make you feel? Does it make you feel happy? Does it make you feel sad? Does it make you feel you're less than? Nightmares will usually do that. That's usually because you've seen Friday the 13th just before you went to bed or something like that. That's another thing. Never see a negative movie or something from the news or CNN of shooting or whatever just before you go to sleep. We're going to be talking about that in the meditation, because that same pattern of energy will go right into your sleep state You won't really get messages, you'll just get sort of earth reactions. That's not really a message. If somebody taps you on the knee, that's what that energy will do. The response of your knee flipping out is what happens in a dream. That's not really what we want. What we want is clear messages to whatever that we're going through in life. Some people react to color. Some people will react to symbols or pictures. You might see a small movie. Words might come up. Just the words itself. Spirit doesn't always like to use words because it's such a sloppy language. Spirit says words are a very, very sloppy way because it's so slow. It's like telling a university student, let's do the ABCs. But if they have to do that, then they will. If that's the only way as somebody will take messages, then they will sort of dummy it down so that we get that initial result. Once we start to connect more, they'll start to send higher vibrational stuff, and that's usually color. They'll send various, things like movies and pictures, and voices are going to be another thing. A couple of techniques that we're going to share with you. There's many of them, but I want to show you some very simple ones that you could use right away, and you would find that it would work. One is what we call the red light, green light technique. And this is when you ask yourself a question you don't know the answer to. Let's say you want to change your job for whatever reason. You've been at the same job for years and it's really abusive at work and you really don't want to be there. Just one example. And your intention is to find a job, but you don't really have time to look because the present job is taking up so much of your time. So you would ask yourself, I have such a great talent in XYZ, whatever that is. And I really wish to get myself another job that respects what I do and is a better working condition. So let's say you put that in. When you go into a zone, you would say, should I look in the financial industry? And you'll get a red light or a green light. Let's say you want to be in insurance, or you want to be a financial planner, or you want to be something to do with money, maybe a banker, whatever it is, you'll get a red or a green light. And if you get a red light, oh, okay, so that's not it. What about construction? I do like construction. Would that be better for me? Red light, green light, same idea. And the reason we're usually doing it that way, like a traffic light, because sometimes you'll get a yellow. And a yellow means you're on the right track. But it doesn't mean it's definitively yes or no. It's kind of in that area. So if it's not in the construction, maybe I want to be a foreman or an architect. And this is a lot of times where students are asking what they want to do when they're finished high school, or they're right into university decision making, and they are really choosing the path that they need to choose for the next few years. And let's say they have 3 or 4 options. Is it architecture? Yes or no, or red or green light. And then you go through that. That would help. That happens if you're more visual. Now, if it's not that, it just might be yes or no.
This is the end of Part 2, Higher Realms. Now, I hope you check out our next episode, which is called Heads or Tails, which we talk about energies and assigning them to things.